Hello and welcome to my channel, Crafting with Indiana Jones, because I am Indiana Jones herself. Today's adventure takes us into a vintage garden. Not exactly, but we'll bring vintage garden inspiration into our decor inside our homes. So I am concentrating in my boudoir, bringing a little bit of whimsical garden fantasy flair. So I hope you join me. Let's go! So here's a quick sneak peek at what my dresser looked like before. It needed help, I needed help, and I needed inspiration. So let's get started. My first inspiration is to take a simple lampshade and make it into something fantastic. Now, I am going to say, be careful with this craft, and I'll be saying this because you have to be very careful with what kind of light bulb you put in your light after you use this lampshade. Make sure it's a cold like LED light, and don't leave your lamp unattended with this lampshade. I know, it's a lot of caution, but it's well worth it in the end. So the first thing I did was took a burlap ribbon and this other ribbon that looked like leaves. And I got both ribbons, I believe, at the Dollar Tree. And what I'm creating is almost like a pocket with the two ribbons, and you'll see why in just a moment. So after I glue the two ribbons together, now I'm going to start applying moss. Yes, I know it's insane, but you gotta have some moss in your life. I don't know why, but I always end up working with a lot of moss, but it's worthwhile in the end. What's a better suggestion is if you buy moss ribbon. Now, I couldn't find moss ribbon. I've used moss ribbon before. I know it's out there. And now I can't find it. Doesn't that drive you insane sometimes? You're like, what? It used to be right here. And you talk to people in the store and you're like, it used to be right here. Moss ribbon. I didn't make it up. Even if I didn't make it up, it would be a phenomenal idea to have a ribbon made of moss. But so that's what I'm making. A ribbon made of moss, which is probably out there anyway. But anyway, onward, we make a ribbon made of moss and just cover all this ribbon with moss and just make an unholy mess of our craft room, which it is already. So what's the difference? A little bit of moss isn't going to make a difference. You'll notice in today's video, I did not speed anything up because I thought, being this a vintage garden inspiration, I didn't want to rush you. I wanted you to enjoy and luxuriate as I craft in my vintage garden. Does that make sense? I hope so. So here I am applying the ribbon of moss, which I made with burlap ribbon and leaf ribbon, and I'm adding it to the lamp. Don't worry. If you mess this up, you can always use a heat gun and unglue the glue and start all over again. But yes, this is why I used the ribbon, so I wouldn't have to glue what's coming next directly to the lampshade. And you'll see what I'm talking about in just a moment. So there you see, it's a moss ribbon. Now I'm going to take flowers, beautiful, beautiful flowers, as you can see from my flower wall. It's my flower wall. I know. And you'll be wondering, when did she get that? That's something completely new. Well, there is a challenge coming up on June 23rd. And it's about craft room organization. So now you have a sneak peek of how I organize my flowers. So here I'm organizing my flowers on my lampshade, as you can see, and just thinking of an English garden where they have all different types of flowers, all different types of colors, and they're like wild, little wild flowers. And I just love it as I do my flower wall, because it's my flower wall. I know, I'm sorry. Now I'm thinking of Flower Wall as a song from my flower wall. I'm sorry, that's just how I am. So look how pretty. Isn't this pretty, guys? Come on. This is pretty. This is something different. I hadn't seen anybody else really do this. Or maybe I have. I've seen people use petals, rose petals, but I haven't seen them actually put flowers like this. So I hope you try this out for yourself. And again, just be careful with what kind of bulb you put in your lamp afterwards. Today's challenge is being inspired by Devin, the Freckled Mom DIY, and Favi of ArrowsDIY. They came up with this challenge, and I thought it was a beautiful way to make a transformation in my own bedroom. So let's continue. Next, I have this lovely planter. Now, I had found this planter at a thrift store. It was gold originally, if I'm not mistaken, and I painted it white. And I was like, I haven't used it. Painted it white, didn't use it. Didn't use it for flowers, nothing. So I decided to make this look like it's been sitting in a garden for a while. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to darken all of the details with some really dark brown, not black, but dark brown paint. And as you can see all the details now pop up with that dark brown paint. So now I'm mixing it together with this sand colored paint just to make it look more like stone. I really want to make this look like a stone planter that you would find in the middle of a garden somewhere. And again, my inspiration for this vintage garden has to be all these beautiful gardens that you see in all these English movies and I don't know, there's so many English murder series. Have you noticed this? And they're all in the country and they have beautiful settings and beautiful flowers, but somebody always, you know, it's not fun, but it's fun if you're a detective, I suppose. Anyway, I digress. Back to my planter. So now you see that my planter looks more like it's made out of stone. And here I'm adding a little bit of green moss to it, just to give it that really aged patina look. And as you can see, there's a little bit of gold that is still popping out, but I think this gives it so much more of a natural look. Next, I'm going to use one of these blocks of styrofoam that I got from the Dollar Tree, and this is a dry one. You can use a white one as well, but I just thought this was easier because it's already green. And yes, what comes with this but more moss? We've got moss for days here in this video and in this channel. So all I'm doing is filling the planter with moss. So the next step will be to select from my beautiful flower wall which flowers are going to end up in this planter. Again, you will see how I created this flower wall on June 23rd when we discuss how we help to craft or to organize our craft supplies. So here you see me picking out my flowers and putting them into my planter here. And I just chose, again, wildflowers. I love the idea of wildflowers. I mean, originally when I got this challenge, I thought I was going to use roses, but I love the idea of wildflowers, especially when we're transitioning from spring to summer. So I hope you like that too. So I have these beautiful looking, I don't know, it looks like lavender flowers and baby's breath and those mini little pink roses. I just love the combination. So there you have it, another little addition for my bedroom. Next, I also found this at the thrift store and it was painted gold and I never really liked it and I never really used it much. It was originally a frame, but it didn't have glass, so I used it as a pin cushion, but I never used it. Isn't that strange? Never used it. So again, following with the whole theme of making a vintage garden, I'm going to make this look like it's stone, it's been patinaed, it's got moss on it, and I'm just taking very good care with the details on the flowers. I don't mind the little bit of gold is showing because I think that just looks really cool. So I'm using again this sand colored paint, and I believe this is from Folk Art Paint. It has to be because the only paints I use are from Plaid and the Plaid family of products. Plaid, I wanna craft forever. I know, I'm strange. So here I am using some green Plaid paints, once again, to create the patina on my beautiful little frame. And you're wondering, like, what am I gonna do? How is this gonna really look like something gardeny, like a vintage garden? Well, first of all, it already looks vintage garden because it's vintage, you know. Is in a craft, not a craft store, it's in a thrift store. I am going to use, of all things, yes, AstroTurf. Why do I have so much AstroTurf? Long story short, helped to decorate for a party. It was Alice in Wonderland, so it was a lot of garden themes. So I'm going to find a lot of creative ways of using AstroTurf on this channel, and you will see that here and only here. So there you go, the AstroTurf channel in Deannie Jones. If there's any AstroTurf companies that want to sponsor this, please give me a ring. Anyway, here I am putting the AstroTurf into the frame itself. And what am I going to use this for? My vintage flower pins. I have a little collection of vintage flower pins. And I really want to find a bee pin. Believe it or not, I don't have a bee pin. So hopefully I can find a bee pin to add to my collection because I just think this is darling. I do have a dragonfly, so I hope you find something like this to try it at home. So this is an innovative idea of how to use those dress form jewelry holders, and I have a couple of them, but I never use them again for jewelry, so let's make something else with it. I was inspired by those beautiful shaped topiaries and all those very high class, very expensive gardens that you see. Like, let's say here in the United States, I would say, like, you know, the Biltmore in Asheville has beautiful gardens. And speaking of gardens, I'm selecting flowers from my flower wall for this project. So what I'm doing here is very, very simple. I'm not gluing anything directly to the form because I figure I might as well use this for other holidays as well. Speaking of holidays, I will partake in a special presentation where we get to dress forms for Christmas. So that should be interesting, using florals. So as you can see, all I am doing is bending the florals, the stems, into the dress form, adding some roses here and there, and I'm trying to stay within the same kind of motif of using like wild flowers. And I found the most perfect ribbon to match this whole selection, and there you have it. Next, I'm taking this garland that I found at Hobby Lobby. Now, I have to say, I bought this on sale 50% off because there ain't no way this girl is going to pay full retail for anything. I don't care how much I like it. I will wait till it's on sale. I will talk to somebody to see if I can get it on sale. Anything. But I will never pay full retail. And what I found out as I was looking at this is that it had little stems that didn't have any florals or any kind of leaves on it, so I decided to add my own florals just to give it a little more life. So here I'm adding some florals that I had gotten, I think, from Walmart. And now I also added to this a string of fairy lights because I thought, well, if I'm going to make a garden, I might as well make it enchanted. So I strung some fairy lights from Olaf's Lights. Next, I have this beautiful frame and frame holder that I also got on clearance. I think I got it for 98 cents somewhere. And again, had it sitting around, never used it because I didn't like the color of the frame. Hello, I'm a crafter. That's what we do, is transform things and make it our own. So this is what I am doing here. And how am I going to make this gardeny? Well, first of all, it's already got a bird on it. It's got a bird! Look at the frame holder, it's got a bird on it. But now I'm going to use these beautiful IOD transfers that were gifted to me by the lovely Teresa of Our Green Acres. If you don't know her, check her out. And I just thought this was perfect to add a butterfly or a moth and some little flowers. And most especially because I wanted to frame this and put this on my dresser in my bedroom to commemorate my mom. And I just love to see her smiling face every morning before I start my day. And there you have it. So let's check out the final reveal. Thank you again for stopping by, and I wanted to let you know how much I appreciate you. Your comments, your kindness is always something so wonderful I look forward to after each and every video that I make. I hope you liked all of these inspirations, and I hope you are inspired to bring a little bit of vintage garden into your home. Thanks again to Devin and Fabi for hosting this wonderful playlist, and please remember to check out the rest of the playlist for some more vintage garden inspirations. As I always say, stay safe, be kind, God bless each and every one of you, and remember to live the adventure, even if it's in your own vintage garden. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and ring that bell so I can let you know when I come up with some new adventures. I'll see you again soon. Bye!